Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Livestock Wealth Q&A Investments webinar. My name is Tulani. I handle social media for Livestock Wealth. So I will go over the format before handing over to our CEO, Ntuthuko Shezi. So firstly, we have some housekeeping. We will be keeping all audio on mute. If you have any questions, please share them on the Zoom group chat, and we will try to answer the most common questions in the Q&A of the webinar, in the Q&A section of the webinar. So after a quick introduction, Mr. Shezi will be answering the most common questions we are asked. And then at 11:20, we will be answering your questions from the Zoom chat. We'll also be posting a recording of this webinar next week for those who want to listen again or to share it with a friend. And if you haven't already, you can like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. We are Livestock Wealth. You can also find us with the hashtag #InvestInCows. So we hope you enjoy this session, and thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Really value each and every one of you that came through to be with us on this webinar today. Thank you for just making the time, to give us an ear. My name is Ntuthuko Shezi. I'm the founder. They also call me the Cow Executive Officer, which stands for CEO of Livestock Wealth. Today, I'm with members of my team. So there's our staff members. These are the guys at Livestock Wealth, the guys who really make the magic happen, from the farming, investing, accountants, auditing. Please, can you just raise your hand, our members of staff and our partners as well? Great, thank you, guys. Thank you. We also have, I believe, some of our partner farmers on the call. These are farmers who are farming for us, who are making all this magic happen. Any of our farmers there? I know Jean, you are here. You just text you are here. Jean Likanya, our macadamia farmer. Anyone else? Please raise your hand. Thank you. Oh, I see Isaac there as well. Thank you. Thank you very much. Great stuff. And then, lastly, but most importantly, our investors. I would like to see any of our existing investors. These are guys who've labored with us from 2015 October when we launched. If any of those investors are here, please can you just raise your hand for other people to see you as well. Thanks. I see there Isaac, Nigiwe, Lillian Stein. Thank you all for just making the time to be with us today. Right. I'm going to start just briefly with just taking you guys into confidence in terms of who I am as Shezi, what I believe in, what made me to start this Livestock Wealth business, and what my vision is, and where I want to see this company growing into the future. I know some of those things you can't really put on the website, but when you get a chance to talk to people like we're having a chance to talk now, and you're able to ask questions as well and me answer them, it just opens up a lot of possibilities. So I'm Ntuthuko Shezi. I'm 41 years old. I live in Johannesburg with my wife, with two daughters, Singobile and Gwandile. Gwandile is 5 months old. I've been a businessman since 2006. In my previous life, I was a strategy consultant at Accenture. Some of you may know the company. If you receive a bill from Eskom, the guys who designed the bill, what it looks like, where each field goes, how you get billed, how they decide to cut you off. That was my colleagues. In fact, my roommate was a leader of the team that designed that system, that designed the bill for Eskom. So if you get cut off with your power, you can blame my friend Bongumusa Makatini, who was a leader of that project that delivered that for Eskom. But being in corporate, I've I did very well. I was very successful. I was on the fast track to being partner, but I had something eating me up inside of me, which was, am I really doing everything I can to be changing the world? So that thing always bugged me. So finally, in 2006, I amassed enough courage to resign and start a business. Some of you may know my businesses at the airport, Scratch Mobile, which does panel beating. You can check it out there. And then we also, another business that also at the airport that one of my companies runs as well is First Class Parking, which is the official valet parking operator at OR Tambo Airport. So for all the busy executives, celebrities, we park all their cars while they fly and fix their dents and scratches as well. So that's been going for about 14 years now. But even then, I was like, okay, is fixing cars really changing the world? Yes, you can help hide if there's a wife who scratched the car and they wanted to fix the car really quickly before the husband finds out. So I fix the car quickly, return it quickly. So I save a marriage there, but but it's not really changing the world, So I then had this idea for the longest of time to create Livestock Wealth, and there were many influences of it, and a bulk of them from my parents and grandparents, being agriculturalists while they were young, at a small scale, but I could see, looking back, because they say hindsight has got the best vision. I could see how my family was able to move from my grandparents who were my grandfather, I think was a male, they call them mail boy in the 50s. So his job was just to deliver mail between offices. And then my grandmother was a cleaner. She just cleaned houses, people's homes in Morningside in Devon. But looking back, I was able to see how the few cows and the few entrepreneurship things that my grandma did were able to propel our family from abject poverty to middle class, where my mom was a teacher, and to me, who became an engineer, an electromechanical engineer. And my kids can be anything they want. If they want to be a ballerina, they've got a very, very strong chance of being a ballerina without having to worry where the money is going to come from. So for me, that is what I saw as the power of how agriculture is a transformative force in Africa. So, which is why then I started Livestock Wealth, with a bigger vision of saying, man, this country is the most unequal country in the world. We lead in inequality. What does that mean? That means across the road, there's healthcare for a few people who can afford medical aid. And on the other side of the road, there's a very shabby facility where people are condemned to die. And I've had two experiences like that with close friends of mine where they could have lived had they only had medical aid or enough money just to be admitted to the emergency room of the private hospital. And that one instance happened for me in 2013 with my great friend who was a welder. He was ill in hospital. His father, I went to visit him, and I could see that this guy is on the clock. Then I called his father and say, hey, Patrick's dad, Patrick Dom, I think his name was Dom, yes. I've got 30,000 Rand. Can you just put in 20,000 Rand so that Patrick can be moved to the next hospital, because that's what they want as a deposit. Because Patrick and I were doing a lot of work together, like on contract, like he was a welder. There was a job that was long delayed for us to start. So I knew that there'll be money to be able to cover the 30,000 Rand from somewhere. But his father sadly dilly-dallied, and he just didn't commit to the 20 grand. So then he stayed in the public hospital, and 2 weeks later, I got a call that he had passed on. My wife and I drove to the hospital, to MLO, where his home was, We drove there, and when we got there, I got a shock of my life that this family has about 30 or 40 cows sitting in a crop, because for the day of the funeral, all the cows had to be on the crop. Those cows are worth easily R500,000, yet they can't find 20,000 rand. Then the funeral policy that all paid, so there was enough money to bury him. There was catering for us. There was all these other nice things, VIP area and all that. Nice casket. But why is there no 20,000 rand to bury it, to keep the guy alive? That's the question that I still ask myself to this day, in terms of saying, why are there no financial products that really care about people? So now, I'm never a person who loves to complain. I find problems and I do something about them. And then Livestock World was one such outlet for me. And for me, the world I'm creating is a world where all farmers across the continent of Africa, with all their cows, are able to realize the value of their cows today. Those cows are on the platform. They are tracked by our tracking system. We're able to guarantee the person's creditworthiness based on how many cows they have, whether it's an investor who owns those cows or even the farmers. I want to create a world, and my team is committed to this, of an Africa where there is no piece of ground that is not planted, where there's apple trees, coffee trees, where there is macadamia trees all across. And in that world, there is processing plants that process those macadamia. There's industry that provides irrigation. There's industry that provides irrigation and tractor repairs and all those things. And then there's jobs. And then in that world, then there'll be no inequality, because everyone can be able to stay alive and have a choice to stay alive. So that's me, and that is why I'm standing today. Great. We started off in 2015. You guys know our history. You can go on Google with 26 cows. We grew. We're now managing close to 100 million rands worth of assets. This is assets in macadamia, in free-range cows, in pregnant cows, in all parts of South Africa. And we're not planning to stop there. Our vision is bigger. It's bigger than South Africa. It's continental. We have, you guys have seen how our work has been featured and supported by various organizations, your CNNs and everything else. And I believe that you guys are all here today to say, you spent that 40 minutes that we invited you and say, how can I be part of this? And we want you to be part of our vision of changing the world in this way through crowd farming. So I'm gonna just dive in to say, then how does our investment in cattle and agriculture work? How does crowd farming work? I think there is a slide there. I think there's a slide, I'm not sure if it's showing yet. Okay, so we act as this bridge between the farmer and the investor and the market. So what does that mean? It means we have farmers who already are farming. These are not wannabe farmers. These are farmers with skin in the game, with plants on the ground, with cows that are walking alive and healthy. We have those farmers, and we vet these farmers. We find them. We've got a team that finds these farmers, does credit checks on them, make sure they are good enough to be trusted, such that you as the investor sitting in Joburg, sitting in New York, can buy that cow that is sitting in their farm and be the new owner of it. And it's being cared for by the farmer while it grows, or while the baby inside the stomach grows. And then that's a fixed term investment that ends when the baby or the calf is sold. That normally takes about a 12 months process. And then when the baby is sold, then there's money coming into the farmer, because the babies at today's prices are worth about 8,000 Rand or so. So then the farmer is able to then say, Mr. Investor, you've partnered with me for 12 months. You've owned this cow. So after 12 months, I'm going to buy back this cow from you for more than you paid me for it, because now its value has increased, because now it's a mother and a calf. So if you had bought the cow for 18,000 Rand, then you're then buying it for, the farmer is buying it back for 20,000 Rand, giving you a 11 or 12% return on investment, depending on how the beef prices perform. Now, other people may ask, why don't I keep the calf? Why don't I keep the calf? But there's too much risk in keeping the calf. There's no knowledge of whether it's whether the calf will be barren or fertile, and it's going to take 3 years for you to find out. Imagine 3 years lost owning a calf that is barren. And then also with the mother, why it's 12 months only is because there's no guarantee that the cow will be pregnant in the following year, in the following season. So there's no guarantee that the cow will bring in money next year. So to make sure that you as the investor are not involved in the risks of pregnancy, you are only involved with the cow for a fixed period of time while we know for sure that it's pregnant. And then on the macadamia side, you guys may know, macadamia is one of the highest grossing crops in the world at the moment. You earn more money planting macadamia in 1 hectare than anything else. So what we do, because to grow macadamia takes about 6 years. So you have 6 years where you have to buy the land, prepare the soil, plant the tree, fertilize the tree, put irrigation, maintain the tree for 6 years before you see a single payday as a macadamia farmer. So what does that mean? It means that only the most affluent people, private equity funds, are able to own macadamia plantations. If you go in South Africa, in Venda, all those macadamia plantations that you see, most of them are owned by UK private equity funds. Why? Because local farmers don't have 6 years of money to put into a tree. So we then partner with the farmer and say, hey, Farmer Gene, you've got the tree, you've got the skill, you are good at this thing. We'll buy the tree once it's on the ground. You'll sell it to our investors on our platform. As Livestock Wealth, we make a commission from each sale. That's how we keep the bills alive and keep the lights on. We make that commission. And then Gene has got money to maintain this crop and make sure it's the best crop when it comes to market in 6 years. And he's in a position to buy back that tree from you, the investor, for nearly or over double the money. So that's what we've done with macadamia, where we have created a way for money to really grow on the tree. Okay. So then the biggest question that all people always ask now, is my money safe? Can I trust these guys? Who are these guys? Can they really be trusted? So one of the things that we've done from day one is make sure we had top tier auditors. So at the time when we started, it was Sizwe Ntaluba, Gobodo, SNG. In fact, we've employed some of their ex-staff as our accountants here and CAs into the business. We've had top tier auditors from day one. And they've changed the name now. They are part of Grant Thornton. So we have Grant Thornton as our auditors. These are people that come, they check our books, make sure that everything that we say we're doing is what we are saying we're doing. Okay, and then secondly, there is the technology, and there's a due diligence that we're bringing towards vetting the farmers. I think I've talked about that. We visit every farm and we make sure that during this time of your investment, we are always there, keeping an eye on the farmer, keeping an eye on your investment too. And then we also have a tracking device. You're gonna see in the media in the next couple of weeks, every cow that's on our platform is going to have this device, which tells us that the cow is on the farm, it's within the fence, if there's something happening to the cow at night, even you, the investor, whether you are in New York or in Venda or in Johannesburg, you'll be able to see the alarm that, hey, something is happening to my cow. And the farmer is able to react quickly. So that brings in an extra layer of safety. And then we also have insurance as well. So like macadamia, for example, where the markets are matured, all the farmers that bring in, like Gene has an insurance policy for his macadamia. So if something happens to the orchard, there's fire, etc., your investment is safe. And then lastly, we are regulated by the Agricultural Produce Agents Council, which is a statutory body that regulates agricultural agents. Because as Livestock World, we work as an agent that connects you, the farmer, to the investor today. And then 6 months later, at harvest, we then act on behalf of you, the investor, now working with you to sell the product to the market or to sell the product back to the farmer. So that's the regulation environment that we are in. And it's a regulator with real teeth, with complaints, resolution processes, with registration processes, with ways of investigation, with ways of dismissing people who don't comply with the promises that they've made and with the statutes of regulation. And the Agricultural Produce Agents Council is an agricultural body led by the Minister of Agriculture that is passed by an act of parliament, but pertaining to agricultural products, which is the space that we are in. Okay, that is where I'm going to stop. But then people always ask, then how do I start and invest? So I'm gonna share my screen. I'm going to share my screen, and then I'll take you guys on a journey and say, how do I buy my first cow? Okay, let me move that. Okay, so there we go. You go to our website, livestockwell.com. As you can see, there you're in. Now, then you go and say register, and then register on the web app. Okay. So let me call this demo livestock. And then the email is, let's say, demo@livestockwell.com. And then I'm going to create a password. Our systems are hosted by IBM. I'm sure you guys know IBM, very reputable company. So all your data is safe and it complies with all data security rules. Okay, then it sends a verification email to my email to make sure that I'm really a person and not just a robot. Okay, so then the email comes in. There it is from Livestock World email verification. I verify my email. Okay, then it says my verification was successful. Now I can then log in and then I can start being an investor now. Put in my email, I put in my password, and I sign in. Okay, now I'm inside. Now there's the various investment categories: macadamia trees, pregnant cows, free range. And then you also see Farmers Club. You guys may also be aware of Farmers Club. This is our direct farm to fork service. So please also check it out on this same website, livestockwell.com. Then I choose investments. Then I choose the product that I want to invest in. So now you know what your investment threshold is. So we have the macadamia tree at 2,000 Rand for one tree, and there's no limit in terms of how many trees you can buy. Free range cow, which is the cow that becomes beef, also no limit of how many cows you can buy. And then the pregnant cow, which I talked about earlier, also no limit. So I've chosen, then it says the product has been added to the basket. I go and I view my portfolio over here. And it's showing me I've got a pregnant cow and it's one of them. But let's say I want to buy 20. I've just received my bonus. I want to just grow this bonus and not just make it go away. Then the update is updated successfully. So then my invoice amount is going to be 374,600 Rand. Then I proceed to checkout. Now then it's going to ask for my ID number. Okay, right, it's my birthday here, August the 13th. In case you guys want to send presents anytime. And then the phone number, 568 what's the number? The 1131, that's right. South Africa. I am in Gauteng and my zip code is 2198. And you see, then I check, I fill in all the fields so we know who you are. We've got your address and we've got the amount that you want to pay. Now, there's two ways of paying. Preferably direct bank transfer is the most preferred one. But we know that for most people who are overseas, making payments into South Africa can be hard. So we opened up this card payment system. It just it has a cost in terms of fees, but it's something we've decided as a rule to say investing is everyone's right, regardless of which country they're in. So we must do whatever it takes to make sure that everyone is able to invest. And then direct bank transfer, that's my choice. Then I check out. Okay, and then I get this confirmation over here, and then this is my bank details. I also get an email confirming this order as well. So there we go. I get an email same time saying, okay, I've received an order. These are the bank details that I'm going to use to make the EFT to Livestock Wealth, and this is the amount, and this is the reference number I'm going to use, which is the farm book order number. And once you've paid, then we're able to we've received your funds, and then your funds will appear within 3 days on the wallet. You'll see a statement as well. Once you've bought, you'll be able to see all your previous orders. And when it's time for the maturity of your investment, you will get an email as well. And then your funds will appear in under financials under my wallet. And then, so if there's no transactions, yes, that's what it says. And then you're able to withdraw that money, or you're able to also reinvest it again into more products for the following year, just like that. Okay, so I've spoken for half an hour now. I'm going to just allow for some questions. We have time, I think, until 11:40, so about 7 minutes or so. So Thulani, you can fire away with some few questions that are there on the group chat.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shezi. So now it's time for the live Q&A section, right? So if you haven't already, please add your questions in the chat and we'll get through as many as we can. We have our first question from Lerato. So she wants to know, if one invests in a calf with 7% interest, is this the annual or the monthly?
Oh,
that is a question.
Okay, I think the question there is, if I invest in an ox, free range ox, that's the return after 6 months. So the 5 to 7% is at the end of the period. Think of a fixed deposit at a bank, like a fixed deposit. It works in exactly the same way. So think of the free range ox as a fixed deposit where you've deposited your money in the cow with the farmer by owning the cow. And then 6 months later, at the end of investment, you get your money back plus the profit. That's where then, so then that means that your 11,529 would have grown to about 12,100 up to 12,300 depending on how the beef prices perform.
Okay, we have our next question from Namata. It's when can you make your platform have dollar accounts to reduce the impact of exchange rate for foreign investors?
Yes, thank you for that question. We are coming there. We are busy on that process. It's something that I, as a CEO, that is top of my agenda in the next 6 months. That your investment, whether you are regardless of country in, is protected from the volatility of the South African rand. But what I am aware of though is that we've had investors since 2015 who've been invested with us, and those who've stuck with us over the years have grown their money, in real dollar terms as well. So that is the one thing that we are really working on to make sure that we've got those options. So thank you for the question.
Okay, we also have another question from Mariki. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. They would like to know how the investments or how the returns will be taxed in South Africa.
Sure. So in South Africa, with the advice that we've received from the top legal minds that and tax minds that we've consulted, is that the asset is growing in value. So it is considered as a gain or as a capital gain because you are the real owner of this asset. It's almost like a house. So then it's a capital gain. But capital gain, and you guys can be able to check with your brokers as well and your financial advisors, that every year there is a threshold. I think the last time the threshold was 40,000 Rand, where if your gain for the year is less than 40,000 Rand, so it means that you're owning like 20 cows and your profit of 2,000 times 20 is 40,000 Rand, then that portion is not taxed for capital gains. That's the advice that we've received, and that's the advice we're also giving to our investors. But also importantly is that your financial advisor, understanding that we're treating the cow as an asset, can advise you further in terms of how to manage your own individual circumstance.
All right. We have a very common question from Olga. When are the connected garden going to be available? The connected garden options.
Great question, Olga. Great question. The connected gardens are coming back from next month. From the 1st of March, we are opening up the connected gardens again. We've partnered with a brilliant farmer. I think she should be on this call, a company called Azowal Projects. And we are looking for other great farmers as well who we can partner with, who will own you as the investor, you own the connected garden, and it's rented out to the farmer, who then all they have to do is just produce whatever they produce and take it to market and pay a monthly rental that gets paid into your account every 3 months or into your wallet every 3 months. So we are really excited that the gardens are really coming back.
Okay, we also have Tinashe who's asking, how long does it take to buy a second cow when you reinvest?
Sure, great. That's a good question. So we've got an investment calculator on our website. So the question that you're asking, you can actually go to the website and put the investment calculator, choose one cow, choose number of years, and you'll see how your profits works. But there is a secret formula to investing in cows. And that is, if you have enough cows that you own, that you are targeting to own even, such that the profits you're getting from the cows every year is able to buy you an additional cow without you putting any money of your own. That is the magic. So now for pregnant cows, if you have at least 9 cows or 10, then every year you're getting 2,000 times 10, which is about 20,000 Rand in profits from your cows. Then the profits are able to buy you cow number 11 without you putting any new money of your own, without you digging into your pocket. So, and then every year the compounding effects just keeps happening. So this is then money growing on its own, just like compound interest at the bank, where interest earns more interest. That's the point that you want to get to as an investor. So if you're starting with one cow, yes, you can start with one cow. But if you want to see real gains, get to a point, do a number where the profits I'm getting every year is able to buy me an additional cow. Then my number of cows keeps increasing without me putting in new money. Then the investment really is working for you, money growing while you sleep.
Okay, we have a lot of questions flooding in. Unfortunately, we do not have much time. I'll just take the last one and then two more. Okay. So we have a question from Machali. They're asking if we can buy a portion of a cow or a tree in installments.
We've had the portion of the tree, as you guys have seen in some of the past media, or portion of the cow rather. But what we decided to do was to say, you know, the investment in the cow is something that's a stretch target for you, the investor. Nothing happens in your life unless you stretch yourself. So we saw that, you know, for if someone puts in $500 and they're getting profits of $30, that person will never be happy because they've put in little, they're getting out very little, and then everyone is unhappy. We then said, okay, everyone must invest in a full asset. So we've made sure that we've got cheaper assets like the tree for 2,000 Rand. But for the cows, you can be able to just put money in your wallet and leave it there. Currently, it's not earning interest yet. We're working on ways to do that, to do that legally, because we can't just give you interest if we're not a deposit-taking institution, but we are working on that with our legal minds. So even when the money is there while you are saving up towards your full cow, that the money could be growing at a few percentage points. But if you can over 3 months, okay, just 5,000 Rand or 4,000 Rand this month, 4,000 Rand the other month, and then 4,000 Rand the other month, and boom, you have your first investment. You know, and that's a stretch target that then makes you really treasure at the investment as well.
Okay, we'll take the last one from Simisha. She wants to know about our farming practices. Do you practice sustainable climate methods, sustainable climate farming practices, or is it possible to visit the farms? Yeah, that is the last
100%. We care about the world. This is one thing I do. I want, as CEO of the company, my job is to create that my company must create the same world that my children will live in and their great-grandchildren must be able to live in. So one of the things that I believe in is, for example, to make sure cows grow in a natural environment. This is why we are very pedantic about free-range grass-fed beef. That the cows mustn't be grown with stimulants and packed up like sardines in a can, just so that it's pressed for time to get to the supermarket, and we get meat that is full of hormones and growth hormones and antibiotics that have got health complications later. So, and then obviously at the farms, our farmers are good farmers who care for the environments. They are not miners, because miners take away from the land, but farmers replenish so that there's something there for tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, that's should we take one more or?
Last one, 1 minute. Yeah.
All right. Ibisomi Ibrahim wants to know, it's a question about Farmers Club now. They want to know if our Farmers Club products are halal certified.
Correct. Yes, our Farmers Club products are halal certified. We slaughter at halal approved abattoirs, processed at halal facilities. So you can rest assured, Ibrahim, that you are well within all your halal concerns. We we believe in really making our meets accessible to everyone. That is our core belief. That hence us choosing to say we will be halal so that everyone in the community is able to participate in what we're doing. All right, I think we can close it there. We know there's more questions, but please visit our FAQ section on our website. We've got an FAQ section, so most of the questions you've got are already have been answered on the website. So we'll be just visit www.livestockwealth.com, and if there's any other questions that you have, you can email them to us, and also we can email them to us. But we will, because we've got your email addresses as well from your registration form. So where there's a question that we see is from you, we will endeavor to make sure that we've responded to it, or even at least just point you to the place on the website where you can find the answer. Okay, I think, thank you very much, everyone. Don't forget, download the app, start investing, go to the website and invest on the web app. Don't delay, because there's some people always say, I've been following you for the last 5 years. You know, why follow us for 5 years? Why can't you just invest? You know, you could have had 5 years of returns and 5 years of being part of the vision. So I implore you to start today. Tomorrow is too late. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.